Hello, welcome back guys to another video, this time about my World Cup semi-final predictions. So as you may know, I am back in my studio because a few days ago I was traveling somewhere else. So yeah, now I'm back in my studio and I'm gonna give you my prediction for this set of games because oof, they are absolutely gonna be peak. So yeah, let's get on with it. So let's start off with France against Spain. Look, so yeah, let's start off with France. They got out of the group stages, and then they beat Sweden in the round of 32, beat uh, Paraguay in the round of 16, and had to play Morocco in the quarterfinals. So this Morocco team got out of the group stage. They got past the round of 32 by beating the Netherlands, and then they beat Canada 3-0 in the round of 16. So this game was a repeat of the 2022 World Cup where Morocco lost to France 2-0. And guess what? That exact score happened because although France did get a penalty in the 27th minute, Kylian Mbappe he missed the penalty, but then later in the game in the second half he redeemed himself after scoring a really good strike outside of the box. And then scored to give France the lead. But it didn't end there because after that, Ousmane Dembele scored for his fifth goal of the World Cup, and he is to secure the game 2-0. So yeah, the game ended 2-0 to France, and yeah, well, France are playing really well, and haven't conceded a single goal in the knockout rounds. France are looking like a scary team to beat because yeah, players like Olise, yeah, he can definitely cause some problems because his left foot is really good. And also players like Mbappe is actually showing up, Dembele, Doué, etc. France are a really stacked team with loads of attackers, and yeah, their B team could actually compete for the World Cup. But can they handle Spain? So let's start off with Spain. They got out of the group stages, then they beat Austria in the round of 32. They beat Portugal, but with a last-minute winner in the round of 16. But then played Belgium in the quarterfinals. And then the game started off with a goal from Fabian Ruiz, but then Charles de Ketelaere scored a header again. But then Spain scored after Mikel Merino scored after Courtois got injured. He got subbed off. Mikel Merino scored a last-minute winner again, just like he did against Portugal to knock Belgium out. Well, Spain, yeah, they're playing really well, but Lamine Yamal, everyone's criticizing him. Don't worry because Lamine Yamal, he will show up for this game against France because he always shows up in the big games, which is why yeah. And also Nico Williams is not that fit. But yeah, the midfielders are playing really well. Fabian Ruiz, Rodri, Pedri, Dani Olmo, Mikel Oyarzabal, Ferran Torres, Marco Correa, Pedro Porro, Pau Cubarsí, etc. They're playing really well, Spain. And they play a really creative style of play because, yeah. But the thing is, France look really well. But Spain have only conceded one goal throughout this entire tournament. France have only conceded 2. But I think Spain's defense will handle France's attack well. But I think this game is so close that I just think that Spain's creativity will make sure that they go through to the next round. And I think this game will finish 2-2 and Spain will win on penalties. So I think Spain's creativity and they will send them through the final. So yeah, now moving on to our next prediction. Alright, now moving on to our next prediction. We got Argentina taking on England. Well, the Falkland Islands derby, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, let's start off with England. So they got out of the group stages. Then they barely beat DR Congo 2-1 in the round of 32. And again, they barely beat Mexico in the round of 16. And they barely beat Norway in the quarterfinals. How did England get here? I have no idea, but it's probably luck because the only players that are actually carrying England are Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham. They are absolutely carrying England. Also Marcus Rashford as well, because yeah, I'm a Barca fan. Of course, I had to include him. He also carrying England. And yeah, in the game against Norway, they actually went 1-0 down thanks to a goal Lazo from Andreas Schelderup. What a goal that was from an impossible angle. That was probably goal of the tournament so far. What a goal that was. But then Jude Bellingham, he always comes up clutch for England. Scored to equalize again right before halftime. But well, that goal should have been disallowed because it touched the camera up top. It did. But the goal censor did not do that. But then the game went to extra time and Jude Bellingham scored again. He is so clutch for England that I had to include him in my fantasy team. So yeah, he is so clutch that I had to include him in my fantasy team to get more points. Okay, so the game finished 2-1. But wait, pause, hydration break. But as for the hydration break, make sure to play FIFA games. FIFA Playzone, really fun. The things there are like match predictor, a chip challenge, a fantasy goal of the tournament, who am I, etc. They're very fun games to play in FIFA.com, so make sure you play them. And also play them to win prizes. Alright, now moving on to Argentina, which, let's be honest, their World Cup campaign up until now has been easy. They got out of the group stages, then they barely won against Cabo Verde in the round of 32. They did a historic comeback against Egypt in the round of 16, and then had to play Switzerland in the quarterfinals. Well, throughout the 60th minute of the game, Argentina dominated this game, and Alexis McAllister scored to put the Argentinians up 1-0. But then Switzerland actually woke up in that game thanks to Dan Ndoye, who scored to equalize the game for Switzerland. Now, but then a few minutes later, Brel Mbolo dived, and yeah, he dived, which got him sent off because they had to check VAR because he was already on the yellow, and they had to check VAR to see if he was if he dived, and yeah, that was a really clear dive. I don't know why he did that. He just cost Switzerland. But then in the game went to extra time, and then Julian Alvarez. I would love for us to sign Julian Alvarez as a Barcelona fan. Julian Alvarez scored brilliant goal to the top corner. Then Lautaro Martinez finished the game off, and now Argentina are playing against England. England are sadly a good national team, sadly, but I just think that Argentina are playing really well in this tournament, especially Messi, Julian Alvarez, Enzo Fernandez, Lautaro Martinez, Rodrigo de Paul, Cristian Romero, etc. They're playing really well, Argentina. But England haven't had a real World Cup. They haven't played a World Cup winner, and which is why I think England will finally get a reality check, and Argentina will beat them 2-1 to go through to the World Cup final and play Spain. So that's my final World Cup. Those are my semi-final predictions, and yeah, we'll see you for the with the big final prediction in a few days. Bye.